So, with that, we bring in Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips, NewsNation contributor Chris Cillizza. Gentlemen, good to see both of you. I want to start with you, Congressman. I think this is kind of one of those both predicted and predictable by you. It's almost as though Democrats right now can't figure out who they hate more, Chuck Schumer or Donald Trump.
That's an interesting take. You know, Leland, I have to say that the right went through this change some years ago. I think Republicans, frankly, do it better in Congress. They have term limits, at least in the House, on committee chairs. And the party that is supposed to be the party of youth, as you just noted, is the party of the old. And when I ran in 2018, I was hell-bent to come to Washington and vote for a new leader other than Nancy Pelosi, not because she wasn't effective, but because I felt that after 20 years, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and Jim Clyburn, who I think together were older than the Republic itself, I thought we needed change then. That was 7 years ago. And here we are once again. It's obvious it's time for change. Chuck Schumer's been running for office since 1974. And I think people have had enough. It's part of the problem in American politics. And I think this might be an opportunity, actually, for Brian Schatz, Chris Murphy, and Amy Klobuchar, some new blood, new perspective. Okay. But I also recognize, Leland, that these are the people that actually elected Chuck Schumer who are now saying he's the wrong leader for the Democratic Party. So the hypocrisy is quite interesting.
To be fair, though, we haven't seen, Chris Cillizza, any Democratic senators come out and say Schumer needs to go, right? So your very excellent So What newsletter, I subscribe, our viewers should too, came out this morning, get rid of Chuck Schumer, 3 exclamation points. I will borrow a phrase from the Trump folks, which is, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And there's nobody trying to beat Chuck Schumer right now. What does that say?
That's right, and I'll just note for you pro wrestling fans out there, the Trump campaign took that from the one and only Ric Flair, who famously said, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? That is 100% true. You don't beat something with nothing. That's what I always say to people. So it's like, I think it is important that if you're Chuck Schumer, that no Democratic senator has come out publicly yet and said, he needs to go. I will note Mark Kelly, no liberal, moderate swing state senator from Arizona, did an interview with, I think it's still called MSNBC at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. And he was asked repeatedly, so do you think Chuck Schumer should still be leader? Do you think he should step aside? And he didn't respond, which if I'm Chuck Schumer, that worries me a little bit. I tend to side with David Axelrod. I think it probably doesn't happen in an election year, but there are a number of young, ambitious Democrats, which, by the way, Chuck Schumer once was, who are looking to move up. You know, I think the party would do well to have just different faces. If there's any message here, it's people want fresh faces.
Yeah, and this is what the Republican Party went through 2009 to 2016, and arguably even a little bit later than that, depending on who you think of in the Senate. There is people who are defending him. We're going to get to that in a second, Lawrence O'Donnell being one of them. But Dean Phillips, if you think about sort of the old blood of the Democratic Party, is Chuck Schumer really the problem, number one? And number two, he still voted to keep the government shut down. Why is everybody so angry at him? What did he do?
Well, I think, you know, the underlying issue here, Leland, I think it's the elephant in the room, is that there's a brewing battle between the left and more moderate wings of the Democratic Party right now. And Chuck Schumer, who had been a relative leftist, I think, for a good part of his career, is now perceived as kind of more the right-leaning Democrat.
Well, I just going to interrupt you for a second, because you said between the left...
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.